Hey, how are you? So I just have to immediately sort of report it's my morning right now, even though it's actually very close to noon. I wound up sleeping about 10 hours, which, again, I've known this stuff about fats. Was running a little short on money. Well, not really short on money, short on sources because iHerb had run out of ghee and no place around near me uh, carries grass-fed butter, ghee, and I might start making it from scratch also because I know it's cheaper. I might do a little bit of price assessment, and it is very easy to make ghee. I've known for a long time as being a foodie how to make ghee, and that's basically the sort of quick Western way to do it is to get yourself a slow cooker, pile all your butter inside there, inside the slow cooker, put it on low, and then just let it go for, I don't know, probably a day or so, or maybe a little more than that. But what happens is all the oil comes to the top and all the milk solids go to the bottom, and then you just pour that off or dip it off. And so I eventually might go to that, and I really believe in that, and I'm trying to get a little more of this kind of mess that I do when I'm kind of scattered. This is my right brain thing. I've really got to force myself to be, I want to use the word force. I've really got to consciously be aware of being a little more left brain. I started cleaning up my kitchen yesterday, and I want to get, as I have been in my life, back more into making everything from scratch. The savings is amazing, and I'm actually amazed because a lot of people that live in Los Angeles, a lot of the stuff that is not available to me, people buy it, like cultured veggies, kefir, and it's like marked up like 700%. I mean, like a small jar of cultured veggies from one of the little home manufacturers, and I'm great. It's going on. People that can afford that can do that and eat that, but $20 for like what, 16 ounces? I don't think it's even 16 ounces of cultured veggies. It's crazy. Uh, so what happened to me was I got my ghee. I showed it to you yesterday, and I probably ate a couple, two, probably I had a tea with ghee in it, and I had a meal with a big scoop of it in there. And my sleep was really deep. I've been getting back to like barely getting over 7, and I did 10 last night. And then my meditation in the morning was a lot more steady. And, you know, because of my constitution and because of, uh, again, this is what I touched on, this fact that I'm very expressive as an artist. And the thing I forgot to mention also is I'm extremely emotional. And so a lot of that stuff sort of, I think it's some of the stuff that's actually allowed me to get away with some health, like some of these emotional, deep things that I'm talking about. Like, I don't think I'm as bad as a lot of people are. And I think the deeper that stuff gets inside you and entwined in you, the more in denial you are about it, you know. Um, as being a poet and as being somebody who's very romantic and sort of feels very deeply, um, emotions, words, these things, I believe that they live. Like, maybe not live like us, but they actually, when you store this stuff in you, I believe that it really attracts energy and sort of takes on a life of maybe not exactly the same as life in the five sense world, but life in you know, in the outside the five sense world of like what we are when we're not in these bodies, or when we're dead, or when we go to the other places that we are. And so I'm very concerned about that type of stuff. And what I wanted to say is, with me being emotional, is I have all my life easily been able to cry, and will allow myself in a second, you know, and I'm not ashamed of it in any way, manner, shape, or form. In fact, my ex-boyfriend is also very emotional, and he is 3/4, no, half Mexican, but grew up in a very Mexican environment. And it's very, in that world, it's very men don't cry, boys don't cry kind of thing. And that was pretty much, that was a real big problem with anybody that's emotional, where you've been taught not to, or forced, don't do that. Boys don't cry, in my getting this stuff up out of me, and perhaps a bit of my resistance to knowing about this stuff, that I consider this energy that it's just so that we're more than physical stuff, that we're mostly electricity and water, and that electricity is the electricity and the energy itself, but it also takes the shape of, as I said, all of these things, words, emotions, spiritual, and mental. And by words, I mean, today I just got on a big word thing, because the fact that I got these FATS back in me, or enough to where it's like doing these things to me, did my whole writing, logging, journaling, poetry thing, and I found that my connection with words, which is something I'm practically addicted to, is I love being able to find words quickly and to express quickly and to communicate in rather exotic, twisting and turned ways. And sometimes when I actually hear Europeans talk or something like that, I specifically, at the beginning of this year, I found out about a guy, a Dutch techno guy named Danny Wolfers of Lego Belt. You've heard me mention him, and he has this it's interesting the way people communicate in English, that's not their original language, but yet they still communicate very intelligently, the choice of words. I become very interested in that kind of thing. So the point of this video is just that in one day of getting good, better, more FATS in me, I slept deeper, meditated better, connected better with words, as I like to do, and just that sense of well-being. So I think that's all I want to say for now. I'm getting ready to make my breakfast. It's going to be bacon and eggs again with some yogurt, and I got some garbanzo beans that I cooked up in my slow cooker. I'm going to make a bean pate with a bit of cider vinegar to go all around that and give that a bit of taste. And so the music for you today is, we're going to stick on that Omar Rodriguez Lopez theme. And this is somebody very intimidating to get into his solo work, because he pretty much puts out everything that he does, and some of it's just, unless you're really deeply into it, some of it's practically unlistenable. So I do want to point you to another great bit of music that he put out with his girlfriend again. I do love her voice. The song is called POINCARE, POINCARE. Beautiful song. Was on his album, I think, called Solar Gambling. And it's got Jimena, is it Sariana? Singing in Spanish. And I will include the lyrics, even though they're in Spanish. They're very simple. It's basically about just loving solitude and loving quietness. POINCARE, I believe, is a mathematician. So anyways, there's your music. And I'm going to find, I know there's clips out there that exist with the lyrics to POINCARE. And strangely enough, there's always this ambiguity with Omar and Mars Volta. And I think POINCARE was some physicist or mathematician or something. So that's a very interesting little mystery for you, or if you love to get inside things, as I do. Anyways, a nice video finally from Keith, under 10 minutes. Still plenty of mindless babble fucking shit, and that is also one thing that the FATS really helped me to do, is to the stuff in my head, you know, and people have made comments about me. A lot in my head, and I can't get it out fast enough. And Omar Rodriguez Lopez is another person that's very well known for like almost seeming completely stupid or on drugs because he has got so much in his head and can't get it out fast enough to express and winds up stuttering and not completing sentences and all that stuff. And the getting the FATS in there is something that really helps to, you know, I don't know what is all that stuff that you know, with the brain and the way we express. And when I was watching this LSD video yesterday, they were talking a lot about the brain. And there might be some great things on this horizon coming up for our consciousness with the fact that the federal government is actually allowing testing with LSD again. And an interesting connection with LSD, I always thought that, oh, here I am digressing again, but I might as well finish it out. Is I'm Swiss. I was adopted and my parents were artists, and LSD was invented in Switzerland by Albert Hofmann. And it used to be free and legal up until like the 70s. Like you could just order it up, you know, call up the company. Sandoz was the name. And some early bits I heard about was that LSD in children or something, this may have been just bullshit from when I was younger, but I was born without 5 permanent teeth, and I'd heard that birth defects. In fact, maybe sometimes y'all look at my mouth and you wonder, like, what's up with his teeth? Because I have a few things. Actually, I'm looking at a mirror of myself. Sometimes when you see me, I have a couple of fake cap teeth or whatever. But anyways, my parents were both, my biological parents were both complete crazy artists, and I've often wondered if I wasn't conceived on LSD, as were a lot of hippie babies, and I am definitely a hippie baby. Of course, at the time I was born, 1963, the hippie thing wasn't quite on, but a lot of rich, sophisticated, wealthy people were experimenting with LSD, with the way it made them feel and the way it made them changed. And now, of course, it's hard for people that are so anti-drug these days to look into that, but keep in mind that people, the sort of excess of drugs was not around back then. And in the late 50s, early 60s, a lot of wealthy people did LSD for recreation. That's maybe where it even came from, the term recreational drugs, and that's where the word trip came from. So anyways, our government's allowing experimentation with LSD again, and so here my video is getting up to 15 minutes again, as it usually does, but whatever, I don't care. And so what I was driving at with this, watching this video yesterday, is something like 11 million messages that our brain processes a second, and the conscious mind is actually only able to handle 200 of them. So what I was driving at with this is the FATS. The FATS are in the brain, and they can really, and in my case I see this because sometimes I get so fucking nutball. I had a guy once who was working with me musically who called me out on, and the people I communicate with the best a lot of times is people who sort of can communicate without words, or, you know what, another digression, but called me out on how often I didn't complete sentences, and it got very frustrating for me. But the FATS, you know, the FATS is what I'm getting at with this. So I find myself much more complete when I keep on this process. Not that I'm getting away from it, it's my funds, my availability, the fact that I live a long ways away, and like things like ghee, I rely on iHerb to get it for me. So as I continue with this therapeutic intake of FATS, today I immediately noticed, wow, great, lovely, I love it. Okay, I'll see you later. You have a good day.